Ladies and germs, Xavier Gonzalez. What's up, bro?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. I see the cups that we're holding. Like, shout out to GP and Arrow, who does the thick custom cups.
I didn't look at this.
You see that?
Yeah.
You didn't even notice, right? Which one's that one?
Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah, it's Wolfpack. Dub P. Shout out to Mowgli, Dub P.
Cheers.
And right here, the cheers, man. It's a virgin drink.
Arizona, right?
Yeah, what type of virgin drink it is? I'm saying version, like a type of Bacardi, like a type of rum. So it's a version of drink, not a virgin. Definitely has liquor. Listen, I want to thank you for being on the podcast.
My pleasure.
It's our one-on-one now. So I did want to ask you a bunch of stuff, but let's start off first with the first thing, which I wanted to do is I already congratulated you, but now officially on the internet.
Yes.
I want to say congratulations because you are now what we call a nurse practitioner, right?
Correct.
Just really quick, like not like fucking a seminar and put me to sleep type shit, but what is a nurse practitioner like?
Nurse practitioner is the next higher education after a registered nurse. Gives you a little bit more entitlement, more autonomy. You could write orders, not just carry them out.
You sound like RZA from Wu-Tang rapping right now. Like,
Yeah.
It's autonomy. What's autonomy? But I don't even know what layman's terms is. Like, who is that guy? Like,
The nurse practitioner?
the layman's terms comes from some guy named Layman. I'm assuming. Like, he invented like, hey, listen, fuck, man, can you fucking write it a little bit different? He didn't understand it, but look that up really quick. We'll do a web check on Layman, like where that came from. But in layman's terms, like what, in a simpler way for me, like who didn't really quite understand, like what's the difference between like a fucking registered nurse and a nurse practitioner? Like, what are you doing? What are you not, and what are you doing different?
Yeah. Normally Good question. As a nurse, mostly you get paid for what you do. You carry out the orders that either the nurse practitioner or a physician wrote. But you could recommend, but for the most part you're doing. If you have a bedside job within a hospital, you carry out the orders, obviously if they're safe. As a nurse practitioner, because you have more education, you could prescribe and write the orders, whether it's medication, consult other specialties.
It's like the last connection before doctor, like
Yes.
right here, one step above. You're not
Yes.
the doctorate, whatever, and then there's practitioner.
And that's a good point because as a nurse practitioner, you need a master's degree.
Sweet.
As a doctor, you need a doctoral degree, at least medical. A medical
know.
doctor, you need a doctoral degree. So the complaint would be, why do doctors have to go for a doctoral degree? And the nurse practitioner after a master's degree, which is less education.
Who's complaining?
The AMA, the American Medical Association.
That's an issue right now. That's like an issue.
It always is. It's all about
What's
payment.
the answer to that? You're the winning side. You're like, cha-ching, less time.
The DMP came out, or the PhD in nursing, which is now a doctoral degree in nursing. So it's the highest. They call it
like
a terminal
beef.
degree.
It's like a beef. Like, hey,
Always
at
the
that.
ANA versus the
I'm
AMA.
a fucking doctor. You're like, I'm a nurse practitioner. What is the difference? Maybe like a Porsche and a mistress, maybe, or a little island in the Dominican Republic. That's what doctors do, right? That's a bad rap. Doctors don't do that. Shout out to doctors. Y'all don't
So
do
layman
that.
says means the people in Greek, so it's like in people's terms.
Okay.
You see? It's
Something
great.
that everyone could understand.
That's what it is. So it's like, hey, look, hey, talk to me like in a regular person. Like,
Yeah.
but you don't want to sound like that. You say layman's terms.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, though. It's an extra work, more time, more school, just to advance and be more educated in that field.
No.
It's just like the connection between the doctor and the nurse. You're like, look, I'm the in between, where I kind of know a little
Exactly.
bit more. I'm writing prescriptions. You write prescriptions. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
They also
some
call it a
backache.
different field. Is also called the PA, the physician assistant. That's very similar.
Nice.
But yeah, for the first time, I guess I've heard, because obviously I work with other doctors, that they're recommending to their kids that they should become a nurse practitioner. Go to nursing school, then become a nurse practitioner. It's shorter, it's not as stressful, the school,
That's
versus
crazy.
medical school, because there is a high suicide rate in medical school students or, freshly graduated residents and all that.
Well, because of
versus
the pressure and
it's very hard.
it's hard.
It's very
like
hard.
going to the Navy SEALs or becoming a doctor. Like,
I think the biggest problem is with most careers of high education, there's no instant gratification. You have to finish. And with anything else, you have an achievement. If you're a realtor, for example, you sell a house, you cash out. So whatever your job is, you see that reward right away. As a student, you don't. You're just accumulating debt. You don't go out. You probably have a bad diet. You gain weight. You're sitting around studying a lot. So I wasn't always this heavy. I probably gained about a good 20 pounds
It's
just
pressure.
from sitting.
Look, it's no secret. In any kind of like higher study, when you get into the, I guess the deep waters, what you want to call it, like 4 years after in college, like it's gotta be like that. I've never been there myself, but it's in culture, it's in movies, it's in no one ever says, "Oh, that's bullshit. It's such an easy ride." Like you never hear that.
Yeah.
It's always, "Hey, machete."
Exactly.
It's hard stuff. Where'd you graduate from?
Barry University.
Shout out to Barry University.
Yeah. I'm a Barry baby. They
good,
have all my money.
Yeah, right.
Even the one I haven't made, I still
That's
owe.
good though, man. That's good. That's an accomplishment, Javier. You know,
Yeah,
in our
thank
family,
you.
in our circle, in our group. For those who don't know, like the four horsemen, the people that grew up, are the cousin code, the ones that the ones that were in our age bracket. You know which ones I'm talking about. Y'all know who it out there. Shout out to secret cousins. The accomplishment is awesome. You know, there's a lot of us that are pushing still in career moves in school. You know what I'm saying? Even Manny. But you're kicking ass in that field, bro. That's what's
Thank
up.
you.
And that all comes from. I know because I'm your cousin, but most people don't know. But we'll put it out there right now. Like you have a military career, you have an Air Force career in medicine, like in the medical field. You know what I mean? You started off initially was respiratory tech, right?
Respiratory therapist.
Going in.
Yes. I went in to the Air Force in 1998 before September 11, 2001. No war at the time, so I enlisted, and the hope was just that go in, get a good job, get the GI Bill, come out, and continue education. And in the Air Force, I was a respiratory therapist. And later on, after September 11, did a couple deployments.
Don't drink like that. Yeah, ladies, if you find a guy and he
cup.
drinks like that, don't date him.
Yeah.
Shout out to my girlfriend for dating me.
Usually means a refill, right?
Why Air
You got
Force? Why Air Force?
In high school, I went to Southbridge in Miami.
Whoop whoop!
And they had
shout out to Southridge Spartans.
Yeah,
I think Manny, you got a Spartan cup right now. Don't you have a Spartan cup in your hand?
yeah, he's a
I'll be
fellow
damned.
Spartan.
Well, I'll be damned. Let me see that real quick. Just
He's a fellow
give a little
Spartan.
shout out to GP and Arrow. Like, look, Spartans, dog. Like, we're all Spartans.
That was his
All
20-year
hail the mighty
his 20-year class.
Spartans. I said,
His graduation class.
No, listen. So yeah, you're in Southridge. You're what year is this? Your junior or senior year?
Well, I did it for 4 years.
You did ROTC for 4 years?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
It was.
You're that guy. You're that guy.
I was
in
the
boot
bad
camp,
guy,
like,
though.
You're that guy in boot camp
No.
where you're like, how the fuck does he know how to do that about face so perfectly?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're that guy.
Yeah.
Because you did a little work. It helps. It
But
does.
I would get in trouble for it
I
because
mean, you're not military. You're not. Listen.
Yeah.
This is another thing I'm gonna say about JROTC. Like, I don't give a fuck. It might help you in boot camp,
Yeah.
but out here, you're still not military. So
Exactly.
you were doing all that shit on your own time.
Yeah.
But you still had to be hood. You
Exactly.
still lived in the place where you grew up in. So nothing
Exactly.
changed. When you went home, nobody gave a fuck about that uniform.
Exactly.
It was like JROTC,
Now
But
we get
it
in trouble
helped
for
you
that.
in transition. To get into boot camp, that's where it paid off.
Yeah.
But at home, I get you. You still had to...
Yeah, it was
you know.
either stay behind, stay in the hood, and I didn't graduate. And I always laugh at that because nowadays they have what they call a minimum GPA to graduate high school. You need, I don't know, maybe a 2.5 or something. It's about a solid C. I think when I was about to
Shout out
graduate,
C students.
my junior year, I had a 1.6 GPA.
Really?
And that first year came out.
I mean,
when-
that's just being like... You were
which
being,
the
you were being lazy.
1.8
Not that
was
you
the
were-
minimum. So yeah, I had to
It's not
repeat
like you weren't
everything.
smart, though. You were just not doing the work.
Not applied, yeah.
You're not doing the work for the grades to be there. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm having a hard time. I'm a fucking 1 point whatever.
Exactly.
That's not what you were.
A D student.
No, absolutely. I mean, I know.
Yeah, but
Okay, so-
again, they say those that do bad in high school sometimes do great in college, and vice versa. You might have
Yeah.
been the honorable student in high school and do bad in college, or be good and good. There's no direct correlation, but you do
It's
see
fun
that.
to say it. It's fun to say that saying. You're like, hey, man, you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. You're like, oh, shit, what a meaning of life.
Yeah.
It's just 50-50. So you get the Air Force in your head. You're like, hey, I'm going to go to the Air Force. Did you
No.
go right out of high school?
Yeah.
Man, so you graduate. How did that work? I don't think I was here
It
for
was
that.
a delayed enlistment program, so I signed up at 17 after taking the ASVAB.
What year you left Miami? for?
1998.
Oh, wait,
in
you left the year.
November.
That's right. You left the year right before I did.
No,
I left in 99, so you were 98.
Yeah, I left.
You were actually in the service before me.
Yeah.
I took a little break. Like I graduated high school. I'm like, I'm gonna do the. Let's not even get into that.
the hood thing
So
or whatever
you're-
it is. Work.
So you're getting in. You go right out of high school. But what was that like? Like, did you have a moment like at home saying goodbye? Like everyone has their little stories. Like how did that go? Or was that just like, all right, I'm out of here, niggas? Like,
No, that
mom,
was
dad, later. Like I'm never gonna see you.
my parents didn't want me to leave. They actually tried to map
Yeah.
out my life. They said, no, marry your high school sweetheart, buy a Dairy Queen, we'll put a loan on the house, and you could be like the ice cream man.
Look at that.
I was like,
don't go,
that's
mijo.
it. Exactly.
Mijo.
So that kind of made it easier when I was leaving because it was more like a rebellion thing. Like, no, I know you hope for the best, but I'm
Not
leaving.
Big Perm, man. I'm not gonna sell ice cream in the hood.
Exactly.
Big Perm.
Exactly, the ice cream man. So I left. So it wasn't hard at all. And then because I did do the ROTC boot camp, I was more prepared for it. I knew it was more of a mental.
little bit.
It's a psychological game.
I could see that going.
And again, they always shine on or make fun of the Air Force boot camp because it's shorter. They say we do treadmills, for example, instead
come
of
on.
running.
Hey, let's be honest. You guys have like weekends off and shit. I heard you guys had weekends off. Like, hey, it's a weekend. Like, hey, man, you
Not
ever heard of
really.
that shit? You heard of that in the Navy weekends off?
No.
My dick.
Again, those are the stereotypes, but it's not.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's
you know
not.
why you know it's not? Because it's just another way for them to weed out the thin, the weak-minded. And we had a few episodes where people try to commit suicide or committed suicide in boot camp. So maybe it wasn't physically challenging, but mentally it was definitely challenging. So you could either break physically or break mentally.
I mean, that's what those things are.
Or both,
They're awesome. They're built for that, to break you down.
Yeah.
This is what I felt. I went in, and I went a little older. Like, I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't out of high school. I was 22 years old. And I'm like, all right, what is this shit? And I'm like, I see the psychological game a little bit. I can pick it up early. And I'm like, I get it. It's the breakdown. Okay, let's put you down. Look, I'll tell you how I knew right away. Right away when I knew the military is like, they know what's up. I'm like, all right, so they're going to shave our heads. I'm like, I'm going to get a skin tight fade. I got me a skin tight fade and taped it up like into the skin all the way up, balding. And then I hardly had anything up top, looking fresh. Then the motherfucker saw me. He's like, yo, come here. And he just shaved it out. Like, and made me shorter and like just balanced it all out. I look like a cancer patient. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, you're not gonna be different here. Like, you're not. He didn't tell me that, but his gesture let me know, like, you're in the military now. No. Your pants are gonna be big. Your shoes are not gonna fit you. No. The cold water, the hot water won't be there sometimes. Like, these are all things that are done on purpose to just build you up, to break you down and build you up. Like, I loved it. So I know the stories were fake. The Air Force is not easy. Neither is the Coast Guard. Neither is the National Guard. Like, nothing. All of those boot camps are official. I dare you to try them.
Yeah, police academy, firefighters.
All of that. All those people.
All of those.
Try all those training camps. Like, you can't even go around your block sometimes, bro.
Yeah. So if mentally you might be strong, but physically you have asthma or a bad hip or something, it's going to show after, a couple of miles of running or a couple of weeks of running. Like,
look, your Manny, your brother, who's here. Shout out to Manny. He's behind the. He wrote to me like, listen, this is what made me join the military. It was, man, he's Coast Guard from Australia, which I have to find it. This shit where I'm at, dog. Like, I was like, what the fuck? This is my dude. He's in off the coast of Australia on this Navy ship. And then he would tell me on his vacation time, like, dude, in between, because you want to get good at push-ups, like, me and some of the guys would wake up in the middle of the night and go do diamond push-ups. Mm-hmm. And you tell that to anybody who's been in the service, you're like, I don't care. What's so big about doing diamond push-ups? No. But before you're in the military, you would hear that, and you're like, wow. Like, you'd picture it in the movie. Like, I can't fathom it, but I'm picturing it. I'm in the barracks, and it's nighttime, and I wake up with my boys, and we're doing push-ups. But that's the reality. That's what we did, just to prepare, because you're gonna get dropped, and you're gonna have to do push-ups. And if you didn't train like before boot camp, oh my god, that's what I did. I didn't do it. Did you do it? Did you do the fucking, how they give you a paper and like, please run this much, please do these push. Did you do that?
I did some.
You didn't do it?
But I think what I didn't train for, and they don't tell you either, is just to eliminate sugar. That was the hardest detox. A cold shock to go with no sugar.
Yeah, and they make you walk by the donuts in the morning. You're like, you can't touch that, right?
They call it the snake pit.
Can't touch this.
All the donuts and cookies, desserts, they were in a snake pit right in front of the dessert section where all the drill sergeants. So if you had to get one, they would call you up. You have to answer any question that they ask you. If you don't, you were in trouble. Or if you answered it, then you got your dessert.
Say that your body. There's something in the food, guys. There's something in the food for the hormones, right? I mean, is that a myth?
No.
Like,
no.
it's in there, so you don't go
It's
jerk
from-
off every day. Like, you
Oh
you
no, they
fuck
say they
each
put
other.
it in the water supposedly.
I mean, water,
Gatorade.
eggs, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you do, it's there because trust me. I
Yeah.
used to bite my mate every day, and then you get there and it's like, hey, I haven't thought about this shit. What the fuck's going on? These guys are up to something, man. Shout out to the military. And they need to give that to kids and teenagers to stop jerking off. But then again, you need that pressure release as a young kid, right? That's how it is, right? That's how it really is physically. That's how it physically is. Like when you're young, like
I don't think it stops after youth. It goes on a whole lifetime.
no, it goes on forever.
Yeah, forever.
I need a minute. No, I meant like jerking off is something that you get into it as a kid, and it's like necessary.
It's a
like,
neat
you don't
toy.
Wanna,
Come
You don't
on.
want to like. What I'm saying is, as life, like you're not supposed to implement a rule like, hey, we gotta stop kids from jerking off. I think that would be a bad thing, right? You would build up some kind of tension, and then
It just gets perfected.
yeah. You need perfection. We're good with that. I think we're gonna go all the way. Yeah. So, shout out to Manny, knowing all the facts. No, what I was trying. Listen, let's stop jerking off. Like, no pun intended. What are we doing here? Like, we were talking about you're entering into the military.
Yeah.
You're getting to boot camp. Where did you go boot camp at?
Lackland Air Force Base. That's
Texas.
the gateway to the Air Force. Yeah.
It's Texas. Shout out to Texas.
And then my training was there, and then my first station
My
assignment
whole
was
thing
there.
was in Texas. Look, you think
Yeah.
Air Force is the second thing that comes to my mind? Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because some of their beautiful bases are in Texas, actually. You know what? Here's the thing. I'm in the Navy, and my school, what they call the A school for dental, was in Texas.
Yeah.
Wichita Falls. It was an
Wichita.
Air Force base. So that's why I always associated with it. But
I think that was Shepherd Air Force Base.
is it?
No. It was
Yeah,
right outside
Shepherd Air Force Base.
Lockheed Martin.
Absolutely. I was,
Right
a
outside of
softball
Dallas,
champ. You know,
about
I was
an
a
hour
softball
west.
champ in Shepherd Air Force Base.
Were you?
Bro, listen, I'll tell you a quick story. Like, since it's Navy with Army and Air Force to do dental, it's a very small branch of Navy that's there. Real small, and they put us in little barracks. Our little like Navy section. So think of like this big Air Force base, and like they're the Navy guys over there.
Yeah.
Like that existed. So I'm there, and obviously it's cool. It's the tri-service thing, but there's a softball tournament going on. So it's like 14 Air Force departments, and then just one department is Navy, and that's where we're at. And we got all the Spanish boys there, all the people. Hey, you play? The first thing they were asking me when I get there, like, hey, all right, what's your name, Gonzalez? Hey, do you play softball? And I'm like, yeah, I do. All right, get over here. And they would like separate us.
No.
And bro, I became part of the softball team. It was
Yeah.
cool. You battle with the people there. We won a couple of championships while I was there for like the 3 months I was there. We won like 2 championships because they did them fast. And we played ball, bro. It was cool.
Not bad.
It was cool because you get to like win for the Navy team, and then you get perks. Like now you would drive the van, and you can go out the base when you weren't supposed to. Shout out to the security.
Weekends off, right?
Weekends off. But anyhow, so you joined the service. I already know that you went overseas.
Yeah.
I always speak of the memorable video you have of like when you did that poem. You were in uniform, so
Yeah.
a cigar and fucking here's Javier in Afghanistan, so a cigar, just saying a poem about. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were saying fuck the Air Force. I mean, what were you saying?
It was a love-hate relationship.
It was like, I hate this bitch. She keeps me up at night.
But I'm sure everybody there felt the same way.
Yeah,
They're there
you know what?
eating
Because it
shit,
is
man.
true.
It's
It's
downtime.
one of
with
those
boredom.
like fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
But you love.
We don't
like,
belong here. What are we doing
I
here?
remember that video. You still have that, right?
Yeah,
So we
I
gotta
haven't
do
seen
something
it.
with that. We
I
gotta
haven't
post
seen
that.
any of that. Yeah.
That's something that's like it's good that we put it on here, but it's something that should be online somewhere so we can see it one day and be like, check this out. Like it's super cool, man.
Yeah.
Super cool to see.
It's
that.
a lot of hours. But all that.
What's that all about? Like, what the fuck? How'd you pull that rabbit out of your ass?
Which one? Doing
Like you were. They're like, hey Javier, there's a
No,
talent
that
show
was
coming
that
up.
was
You're
it.
like, yeah, I'm
That
gonna
was
fucking
it.
do a
It was
poem.
talent night. You just bring out whatever. You juggle
You were like,
balls. or
okay, I
something.
could play the harmonica, I could juggle,
Yeah.
or I could do my card trick, or
Yeah.
or you're gonna do the
Yeah.
poem, and you picked the poem.
Yeah.
You had already prepared for that. Like, you were ready for that. You're like, let me get something for this.
It was I guess a way to decompress. You either lift weights, run, play a sport, clean your gun, go target practice, something. So to me, it was
write a
more of
poem.
that. Get it out.
All right, Shakespeare.
Let it get it off my chest.
Shakes beer. Now you're drinking beer.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it
right?
was.
Did you get any like backlash, like underground backlash, like in the you know how you can
For
tell
that?
you're tainted, like oh you're that fucking guy, and then
No,
you can start
no,
getting
no,
treated
no.
different.
No. It was
well recepted.
Yeah, because again, a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
not
speaking
everybody wants to be
truths.
there. It's an undesired environment. The pride is there. We understand, but you can't wait to get home or your tour to be over. Again, a selected few want to go back over, and you'll see the 5-6 tours under their belt. I did 2, and 2 was enough because
What-
the odds of death significantly increased to the point your life insurance goes
It's
up
every
also
time,
about
every
100,000
time. You
for
know what?
deploying
You
into
know what, man?
combat.
Even being out in the water, like, look, never near combat. Just being out on my ship, like, there could have been mishaps. Like,
Exactly.
you could have died, like, the elevator shaft thing could have
Yeah.
closed on you, or this thing gets loose and snaps, hit you in the head. Like,
Yeah.
you're always at risk, always. Even walking
Yeah.
through your job, like in the military, I feel. You
That's
could have been-
that's a fact.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we evacuated.
It's just a
Our
higher
job was
percentage
that.
for those people out there, and you feel bad. You're like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
You're out there every 5 seconds. You're supposed to get shot, Versus
Exactly.
us, where it's like there's so many parts moving. I learned this, like for instance, the military in itself is like a big body, and everything helps it move. When on the ship, since you're isolated in the water, it's true. Like everyone does something, but one person doesn't do that one well. Like the ship goes down.
No.
It goes down. It just takes one little operation to stop doing.
And the big thing also when you are in
You're always at risk.
overseas combat, for the most part, you're doing what they call blackout operations. The base is alive at night. During the day, everyone's resting because it's hot. At night, we have night vision. We have advantage. The runway is probably the only thing that's illuminated. So because you're working in the dark, it's a lot more chances of injury.
I
You
used
get
to
hit by a
think of- I used to
forklift.
think of
or-
Manny on my ship at night. I used to think about you because he'd always tell me stories of like he was an AT, what we call like a fucking mechanic, basically airplane mechanic upstairs. Green shirts, right? Green.
Crew chief.
These guys have like fucking, the tools and shit. And at night you're walking to the flight deck and people would drop their fucking tools, but like bling 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 bling. I'm like, oh my god. And he's there at night with a blue light because you can't fucking put the white light on. And this guy would tell me how many times you drop your fucking toolbox out there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So when I'd be out there chilling and I hear a guy drop his things, I'm like, Manny. Like, it's so funny, man. It's so funny how I would connect that. Like crazy. And that's years later. He's already out. By the time I'm having my what year you got out?
99.
He gets out, I go in. That's crazy.
Well, pass the baton.
Pass the baton, dog. Listen, so what happened in your time frame when you were in, like for instance when I was in the 9/11 and the USS Cole, like what was happening like during your terms, like
Yeah, from 98
what?
to 2001, it was just training for the possibility of war, for your wartime job. So while there's no war, you're doing your peacetime job.
There wasn't anything happening,
Right.
like you guys were never.
It was just the risk
No,
of
right?
terrorism.
Yeah.
There was attempts at the Twin Towers previously, and there was a lot more talk that terrorism was going to be the new war that was going to be
Like
fought.
the pre-towers.
So they were just now
pre-tower
starting
talks.
to preach that, just terrorism. Drive different directions on your way home. Make sure
I
you're
mean,
not
what
getting
do you
followed.
think
all
about
that.
that shit, man? And there's so much. Listen, there's so much shit out there. Both of you listening, like there's so much shit out there with all this 9/11 stuff that sometimes it makes you feel like, God, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole and like. dig
What do you
up
mean, like
stuff.
conspiracy
Like,
theories?
yeah, like
and all
so
that?
much of like, okay, physically I saw what happened, but like, do you think there were other hands involved in this shit, man? Like it was like, or this was like, we got caught with our pants down. Like, where are you at with that? You think there's fuckery?
I think there's fuckery in everything. And again, maybe people don't know what fuckery means.
No,
but,
okay, for those, shout out to fuckery. Look, fuckery I got from Joe Rogan. Shout out to Joe Rogan. If you ever hear the Joe Rogan, come on my show. The fuckery is like, in my opinion, from what I get when they say it, is like, there's other hands involved and it's too hard to pinpoint because there's so much fuckery going on. Now, what I meant in this case was our country involved in fuckery. Like, if you tell me a bunch of countries conspired to do shit to us, okay, fine. But my question was, do you think we're involved in it? Like, there were some of our dudes in there, like, what the fuck? Johnny, what are you doing here? Like, they're in there with everyone that was conspiring to fucking attack us or kill those people. Like, people died. Like, real people died. You know what I'm saying?
Again,
this isn't like...
you can't always eliminate the conspiracy theory, the fuckery. But as far as what we have, the facts that the towers go down, that people die, was there any connection? There's a lot of top secret stuff that we don't know, so that's where the conspiracy theory comes up. And even if we had the full story, we'd still say something's been hidden. So I think that's a very, you would have to look at all the data and probably look at the different films and whoever put everything out.
It'll be hard for people like us to get complete data, but what we're allowed as the public, like people get mad sometimes. They're like, you can't believe everything. Like, listen, man, yes you can. This is how we get info. Like, I still believe in that. I still believe I can go research and find some truth if I want to. If I'm at the point where I'm like, doesn't matter when you get on the internet, if someone's already, Chris is on the internet, he's about to go find stuff that they derail me, like, come on. I'm always going to think that everyone's lying.
Unless they come out with a different, saying, okay, here's the proof of the fuckery or what really happened, we only have to go by what we know. So,
it's like self-inflicted
did
wounds.
it go down? Exactly. Did it go down? Did the towers go down? Was it an excuse to invade, spread democracy?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Whatever it is.
I think
at the end of the day, it happened. We went, we deployed, we have our, our outcomes from that, an ongoing war.
It's created mayhem. Like I feel like it's a result of other stuff that was happening. Also, that we don't know, that if we want to go and uncover more fuckery, like let's just call it fuckery 1. Fuckery 1 was happening, and it's a birth of that. Like I feel like most of our problems as countries or any other countries, it's always something. It's always birth of something you did before. Like you're reaping what you sow. You know what I mean? Like that type of shit. So, whatever. Some people could say people on our side knew and they had it coming, or people we knew, we blah. It's just so many moving parts, man. I'm learning now that it's so many moving parts to run a country, to run a government, and it's
democracy.
You can as long as you allow it to run, it runs. But to ask for perfection, like but it's crazy that all of that happened while we're in the service. Like I was in the service when that happened. When the towers fell, I was in the service. It makes you feel different. You're more like, you feel patriotic. You know, like her. You know,
the country unites. To me. The country unites. No race wars. No nothing. We're all in it together.
And in all fairness, we're allowed to feel that because we were serving, in America. But then, you get out and you start talking. Excuse me, Afghanistan. You talk to other people, and it's like you start finding a different point of view of how people view the world and where we stand. I put America in a certain place. Like, where do you think? You know what I mean? The tippity tap. So I'm good. I want that to be like that. And other people might be like, no, you guys are bad guys.
It's like that. It's like your son did it, but in mama's eyes, my baby could never do bad. Like they'll lie to the cops if they have to or whatever. So that's where we are kind of. And that's why it's a love-hate. And I think either most people who've had something to do with it, whether you're a veteran, active duty, people that were actually there as first responders, nobody really wants to believe that it was an inside job.
No, absolutely.
So
it'll be
we just take it more as, they got us.
They still have to do that. Like, see, I always look at it like, look, fine, there might be some fucker in my government, but if my job requires me to do this, then you do it with honor.
Exactly.
You do it, you be loyal to it, you do it by its standards, by applying the law. So you can never knock first responders, police officers, even people in the military. Just following orders.
Exactly. So when you go there, you go kind of neutral. Well, while we were there, we contracted a lot of civilians.
It's a lot of good stuff that comes out of decisions made, bad decisions. The good stuff can come out of, like, you learn your lesson or you serve time. Like, for instance, we'll jump onto a positive note of after the military, after being involved in that and then still pursuing the career in medical. Like, look, you're an advocate to, like, Medicare and stuff like that. And I honestly wanted to ask you, because I want you to elaborate a little bit on, your idea of the future in healthcare in this country. Like, right now, most of us, Javier, have no fucking idea what's going on as far as what is Medicaid, what is Medicare. Like, I don't even know I had that. I don't know I'm even allowed to apply for that. Like, we're a little bit like, lost on that. All you hear is Obamacare, and most people don't even know what that is either. You know what I'm saying? Just insurance. What are you talking about? It's like,
I think it's again, you could say a debate topic or not. Like anything else, abortion, gun control, all that. So healthcare has its own place, whether it's a right because you're a human, therefore you should get help, or is it a privilege? If you could afford it, then you purchase it. So depending where you are on that spectrum, and that's completely an ethical view, if your kid is sick and you have no insurance, you want it. But if you're the guy that owns the insurance company,
You're gonna be pissed.
you're gonna say no. If you
No.
could afford it, then. But otherwise,
Oh well.
it should have been.
It's easier to always say
He
oh
should
well
have.
when
He
you're
should have
good.
done something about it. So first, you have to get that under control. So, or not under control, but see where do you stand on that spectrum. So, what the reason
Well,
it becomes
okay.
a debate is because America is a capitalistic society. So just naturally, you're gonna say it's a privilege. You got to work. America's that. If you want it bad enough, then you'll be able to afford insurance. But when you apply that again by the same token to a democracy or the country as a whole, if the country, and by country we'll say the government of the United States, Uncle Sam, is, in my opinion, and not just my opinion, but why I feel a certain way about healthcare is because it's a fact that a healthier country is a more productive country. Same thing as
Absolutely.
your house. If everyone's sick in your house and your wife is sick and they can't cover, their half of the mortgage, you're getting into trouble. Same thing with America. If all America's obese, cancer, hypertension, we'll throw psych issues in there. You're gonna have
Where are we right now in your opinion, as a country with medical, what am I trying to say here? Like, where do you think we are right now as far as if you had to level it? Like, look, we're going towards a better place. We're not going towards a better place as far as what people have. As far as medical,
I think in general we're better.
like access to Medicare,
It's
medical
better.
care is what I want to say.
America's so rich, even it might seem like you fall in between the cracks, but if by law, if you go to a hospital and you have a condition, they can't just discharge you. Some do. People die in that
that's-
process, but if your family's
insane.
poor and they can't hire an attorney to go after the hospital, then there's no consequences. But I think the problem kind of solves itself when it becomes a homeland security issue. When
What do you mean?
America's
What do you
so sick, because I think we kind of know our limits on how much fuckery could happen. For example, before it's like, okay, let's change things. This has to stop. So it's the same thing as the military. Imagine if half of your military was sick. So why does the military have the best health care? And even so, because you need a fit military, it has to be grade A.
Right.
If for some reason you're not, you get a medical discharge. So the same thing with America. The
Like
day
they
it
should have that
becomes,
standards. What I'm saying, like all Americans should be looked out. Like we gotta take care of our people.
well, if we get so sick that we can't pay our taxes,
You know.
now it's affecting Uncle Sam's wallet, and
Uncle
he's
Sam's
like,
a
"Hold on,
motherfucker."
why are the
He's like,
tax revenues?"
what's wrong with him? He's like, his leg's falling off. Okay, but is he paying his taxes? Like, yeah, he's
Exactly.
Fuck him.
Exactly. You
gotta
can only
change that.
disable so many people, for example, and pay Social Security. So I think the day it becomes a risk to Homeland
I
Security.
think people are afraid of a world that could be different. Because it's like, what you'll get from most people when you're like, well, what do you want me to do? Give everybody medical? And you're like, that will never work. It's just a thing to say. Like, what you're asking for is what? Everybody should have free healthcare? And I'm like, yeah, why
Well, that's
not?
something they heard from somebody else because
What's the downside of
Every-
everyone having medical access for free?
Exactly.
What is it? More smiles? More people being productive?
Exactly.
I mean,
More-
what the fuck?
I think it does.
Shout out to WTF.
I think it will have again, for every action, there's a reaction. So if you make it free for all, and then the government sets the price on medications, on everything, whether it's patents on medications, the drive I think, won't be there for companies, any drug manufacturer, to want to create the next cure. Because they're like, well, we're not making money on this
Yeah,
anyway. The government's paying us
exactly.
whatever they want. So you have, I don't know, for example, a lazy scientist, or another country might hire our doctor that would have came out with the cure for XYZ.
That lazy scientist just doesn't.
Exactly.
That person shouldn't exist.
Exactly.
How do you become a
So,
scientist lazy?
but
It's
what
like-
is it? Again, in America, we have so much innovation because the reward is always there, which is not always, but monetary.
Yeah.
And whatever monetary could do for you. And if you're really good, then there's a Nobel Prize there. Now you have worldwide. You go down in history as the best, and who wouldn't want that? So I think in general, scientists want the best, doctors want the best, so they're going to continue to thrive and do it. But when you have that carrot there to innovate, or incentivize, you're going to work a little bit harder. And so will these drug manufacturers.
Diamonds or carrots as in fucking
that money will get you whatever.
What do we do, Javier? What do we do? How do you fix it? How do you bring healthcare to everyone here and don't fuck with people's shit so they don't get so upset? How do you do it?
You could do what they call universal healthcare, where it's already included. You just have another deduction in your income tax.
You get it, citizen, born here, you get it. Boom, automatic.
Yeah, the same way you pay for anything else, towards Social Security,
And how does an immigrant get healthcare benefits when he comes in and he qualifies? Like, do we give them right away, or do you say, hey, we're gonna use this?
That would depend. That doesn't exist right now.
Like I threw that in there, right? Like an immigrant question. Hey, you ready for this? Are you running for office, you asshole?
At that point, with that new universal healthcare, would come out those criterias if they even qualify. For example,
I think that the healthcare thing really bothers me. I almost feel like I'm okay with a crazy world, like you gotta fucking do this, you gotta fight all these laws. But when it comes to healthcare, like everyone should be like, time out, guys, time out. Let me bandage him up.
Exactly.
It's not like that. It's more like, I hope he dies.
Exactly.
Like everyone should be.
He's slowing us down.
Right. Everyone should still do what they want to do, but McDonald's the healthcare, everyone should shake hands and being like, "Hey, do you need money?" Like, the world should have a bank where it's the World Bank for health only. Like, and then when he's ready and fit, he wants to go back to be a dictator. Like, send him back.
No.
But healthcare should be universal for every human being and some fucking animals, because there's some pretty good vets out there that are.
But again, that goes back to the ethical.
Shout out to veterinarians. Not
is it an entitlement? Is it a right? Is it a birthright?
I don't know. We should have a debate about that. We should have big debate about, hey, do you think...
But you could debate on that for weeks. You could take a whole semester on it, and you could spend 4 months debating it, and there will not be a solid answer on it. Yeah? It's just that.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, because you're going to use whatever point you need to justify what you're doing.
But I'm saying, if you start talks that don't exist, I always feel like it might lead you to other answers that never were there that could change your mind. But we'll always go in the same circle if you don't have the talks. So that's why comes that whole thing where I'm like, nah, it's not gonna work. You're like, yeah, you're right. So you go and regroup.
But it's everything.
What about this? Nah, not gonna work. Yeah, you're right. So, but I'm saying like,
until it doesn't affect you, until it's not your loved one.
You're absolutely right about that. But that
if you're writing good, then you're like, I'm gonna.
So what are you saying? We should go out there and get the people sick, that the important people that get their families sick.
Unfortunately,
like inject them with flu and shit.
Unfortunately, but sometimes
I'm not down to start that.
And even sometimes, even with that, they're still like, yeah, well, it's a small price to pay to continue for the rest of the family. Even if it is your personal family member. It happens even in the Discovery Channel, a certain bird has 2 birds, baby birds, but one of them was just an insurance policy in case the main bird didn't make it. So, same thing with humanity.
Birds have insurance?
Through birth, yeah. Through having 2 babies. Eventually, the gene will move on if one survives. So that's the insurance policy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, survival of the fittest. So I think you really won't solve it until it's really hurting who makes these decisions, A small attempt was the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
Why do you say small?
Because it still didn't solve the problem. It didn't cover everybody or all.
It's like nigga shit. Like, hey, put that in there real quick. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So part of my, what they call a capstone project or a dissertation towards a doctoral degree, because I'm also pursuing a doctoral degree, was studying the Affordable Care Act.
Eating ice like I'm at home. Podcast, guys.
So yeah, I'm.
It's a step forward, you think? From what existed. You think Obamacare did good versus didn't do shit?
Yeah, it did, and you see it now because even now that it's about to vanish or potentially could vanish, you see states advocating for it.
Vanish? It's like an extinct dinosaur.
It's a law, and any law that's made could be unmade, and you tweak it, you manipulate it, or you eliminate it. So it was a law.
So what's next, Javier? What's next for Javier on the path to greatness? Like, you're striving for greatness. Shout out to LeBron James.
Yeah.
What's next for you? I mean, you're a fucking nurse practitioner. You're a vet.
Yeah.
You're in the community. You do well. You take care of people with your career. You also take care of family members. You also do a couple moves here and there in real estate. Like, I mean, you get your hands in the cookie jar, man.
Yeah.
What's next? You got anything? You going to space soon? Or you fucking gonna get a robotic arm?
I'm a few classes away from completing the DNP, the doctor of nursing practice.
What? What?
So I want to finish that, and part of it requires publishing all my research that I did on the Affordable Care Act.
Maybe writing something. Is that next? You know, write something up like a book. Or...
I'm in between probably academia, trying to pursue a job like at Barry University, for
All right.
example. Continue to do research on other things and give back. I like mentoring a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
Just to get them on the right path.
Maybe run for office one day.
It's always been a dream of mine.
Maybe, bro.
It's always been a
I'll
dream
be
of
on
mine.
that campaign, bro. I'll be first in line. Sign me up, man.
Yeah, a lot of the things that I've done is just for that, to build credibility, you know, to say I work for a university, to have a doctoral degree, to say I'm a veteran, to say I've been there. I always wanted to actually do that.
You have all those things, man, going for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we had to, like, think of the future time and what we will all be doing years from now, like, and someone told me, oh, look, in this reality, like, Javier ran for office, he's like senator or whatnot, like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, that's not alternate reality. That's almost truth. Like, give me something different. He's a basketball player, or the fucking guy was an archery champion. But like, you know, it fits you, man. It fits what you should do. Like,
Thank you.
I mean, I'm down for that, bro. That would be fucking fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, one day.
Yeah.
You got good policies, man. I've sat and chat with you here, but I've sat and chat with you many times. You know, we've had these. It's one of the reasons why we inspired us to do this podcast. Like, how many times have we spoken back there and like, I mean, there's some gems that we have
try to
dropped.
solve world peace
solved
in
them.
one
There
night.
was like 2 times where we solved the world's problems.
hunger,
Done.
global
Hey,
warming.
write that shit down. But then, you know, went away. But I'm telling you, man, like, if you continue on the way you are right now, like, I don't see why that would stop you from being adventurous in that aspect. Where you're like, I'm gonna try something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For now, really, I'm like, you know, I started taking a few vacations. I was not burning out with school, but I haven't taken a vacation in a while. So just doing a little bit of me, trying to do that, you know, school, work, life balance. But yeah, once I get back into it and it's all said and done, I want to see where I'm at and where could this, you know, basket of eggs take me. So if it's into politics or some kind of office position, I think I've been a civil servant and I always will be. You know, none of these jobs really make you a millionaire. No one goes into the military and say, when I get out, I'm going to have a house and wherever. You know, like, that's not it. You know, like,
I just hope I get out.
Yeah, you're not going to be rich from the military. Same thing in healthcare. You really got to be, you know, something outstanding or invent something. Otherwise, you're working for the hospital. So yeah, same thing. You're a civil servant. So I'm used to that. It's never been for the money, saying this is going to make me rich. It's just where's my heart at. And it's helping people, patients now, you know, bedside, you know, from the newborn all the way to the end of life. So it's just that, giving all my knowledge, everything I've done, just giving it back to humanity. So
that's what's up, man.
That's just my part. And whichever way it takes me, you know, hopefully it's just that, to continue to help humanity.
Listen, man, I'll be right behind you. Go for it. If you do that, man, I'll be first in line. Like I told you, bro. I'll do whatever you have to. I'll be the janitor in your campaign thing if you have to. But listen, we're at our time, man. I want to thank you for fucking doing this podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, bro. All right,
appreciate
man.
it.
I love you, man. You're my cousin, but strive for greatness. All right?
All the time.
We're out of here, folks. That's all. I can't say that. It's probably illegal infringement. So that's all, folks. We're out of here.
It's a wrap.